It's an old game, of course, and our cosmology has it playing before there was Earth, when the Earth was still covered with water. The game was being played on the other side. And then when the turtle divvies back to begin Earth, what we now call Turtle Island, then the king came down along with the spiritual woman who brought life to the earth.
Situated south of Syracuse in upstate New York lies the present-day territory of the Onondaga Nation, where the indigenous people here maintain their sovereignty and operate outside of the general jurisdiction of New York State. The Onondaga are part of the Haudenosaunee, which is often referred to as the Iroquois Confederacy, or Six Nations. The other members include the Mohawk, Oneida, Cayuga, Seneca and Tuscarora. Together, they're united by traditions, beliefs and cultural values. One such tradition is the ancient game of lacrosse.
You could describe the lacrosse game here as it's part of who we are as a people. It's right ingrained into the fabric of the culture, the society. It's part of the religion. It's this is who we are, lacrosse. We always have top-notch lacrosse here.
There's evidence of the game being played in North America some 1,000 years ago. Lacrosse is sacred to the Haudenosaunee. They believe that the game was given to them by the Creator and that it has healing powers. In their language, it's called Dehunshigwae, which roughly translates as they bump hips. The game fascinated European settlers during the 19th century.
It wasn't so much as we gave it to the world as they took it. I'm a man named Dr. George Beers who loved to watch the Indians play, Mohawk Indians. He got infatuated with the game. He formed his own team. They couldn't beat the Mohawks, but he was in love with the game. And he made the first rule book, the rules of lacrosse. So he changed the game from the native style into his style, which became the Canadian style. And it moved down the East Coast, Boston, New York City, Philadelphia, Washington, and it became an elite sport.
Two forms of the modern game now exist. Field lacrosse, based on the early games observed by George Beers, and box lacrosse. Played indoors, box lacrosse was developed in Canada during the 1930s as a way of promoting business for ice hockey arenas during the summer. It's a much quicker and more physical version of the sport, and over the years it's grown in popularity to rival the field version. Throughout this time, the Haudenosaunee have continued to integrate their style into both games. Box lacrosse has become the main form of the game here, and central to that has been local team, the Onondaga Redhawks. So important is the team to the community that professional players from the nation return home during the off-season to play for their local team. Brett Bucktooth plays professionally for the New England Black Wolves in the Box Lacrosse National League, but he still makes time to turn out for his beloved Redhawks.
You know, every time you put on a jersey and you have the Onondaga symbol on your chest, there's a great deal of pride that goes in that. And when I was growing up, I know that I had my role models that I looked up to. One of my brothers being one of them, friends and family, my cousins, my uncles, guys that I looked up to on and off the floor. And now, being one of the elder guys on the team, I know it's my duty to come back home, play my heart out, because I know there's younger kids that are going to take my spot one day, and hopefully they wear the jersey with pride just like I did.
Of the Six Nations, it's the Onondaga who have the richest history when it comes to turning out great lacrosse players. Some of the world's finest have hailed from right here, and that's a source of great pride.
I think Onondaga continually produces great lacrosse players because lacrosse is such an integral part of our lives. kids growing up playing with a stick in their hands since they can walk. So that innate stick ability that most kids have playing lacrosse outside of the reservation don't have as natural. So lacrosse is just natural for us because we're playing lacrosse all the time.
There's a representative team of the Six Nations called the Iroquois Nationals. They're internationally recognized and have won 4 bronze medals at the World Championships since making their debut back in 1990. Honorary chairman of the Iroquois Nationals is Oren Lyons.
Roy Simmons, Sr., and he's a very famous coach. He said to us at that time something which was really interesting to me, which I remember yet. He said, you know, I think, he said, if it wasn't for the Onondagas and the Six Nation continuing to play the game during the war years, that we might have lost that game entirely, because our men, all our men were gone off to war, and the universities weren't playing those games, and especially lacrosse. But we never stopped. During all the wars, wherever it was, and how far back you want to go, we still played.
In just over a month's time, the Onondaga Nation will host the 2015 Indoor Lacrosse World Championship. Fittingly, the sports showpiece event will be played at its spiritual home for the first time ever. Along with the Iroquois Nationals, there'll be 12 countries taking part in the tournament, which has the appropriate tagline, "Lacrosse is coming home." The global growth of the sport has also seen the development in equipment, and in particular the stick. Although the majority of today's players use sticks made of aluminium or plastic, some do still use the traditional wooden ones, particularly goaltenders. Alfred Jacques is the Onondaga's best traditional stick maker, working with shagbark or hickory wood.
I've been a stick maker here for 53 years. You're buried with your stick. You take your stick with you. You're in the casket. You take your stick with you because you're going to play lacrosse in the spirit world. You pass on to the spirit world, not from this world, but to the spirit world, where your ancestors are there and the creator's there, and they will have a game for you when you get there. You play in the spirit world. The lacrosse doesn't end here. It goes on.
Alfred is a member of the Onondaga Turtle Clan. He was taught the craft of stick making by his father from the age of 12.
Humble, very humble beginnings, and we started making some very ugly lacrosse sticks. They weren't formed well, they were misshapen, but you could catch the ball and throw with these ugly sticks, and we slowly got better and better and better. But nobody taught us how. We were self-taught. And so at the time, it was pretty rough, you know. But, you know, we stuck with it, made improvements, and got better.
The process of making a lacrosse stick takes 10 months, from the selection of the tree to the stringing of the stick. And after 53 years, there's still a few tense moments for Alfred in the making of the stick.
The bending. If you don't get the bend, you don't have anything. So the key is to do the prep work ahead of time, make sure it's dry enough, make sure it's steamed enough, and then do the bend. Once you got the bend, pretty much you're 98% there.
That's good.
You could still break one after that, but once you get the bend, you got it.
With every stick handmade, Alfred takes care to make sure that each is crafted to a player's specifications. Light and agile for the attackers, heavy and strong for the defenders. No templates are used as he shapes the wood using purely the years of experience acquired.
It's pretty much automatic pilot. You're cutting the same thing as you did last time, the same thing you did 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. You're doing the same motion. The wood itself can be harder, stronger, softer, easier to cut or harder to cut. You just automatically adjust. You're doing the same motion. You just have to use more power, more strength to make that cut. on the harder wood.
It's a tradition amongst the Haudenosaunee for children to be given a stick almost as soon as they can walk. Today, games involving the youngsters of the Onondaga Nation are very popular.
I've been a part of these games since I was 3 years old, watching my older brother being tagged along to his games. And now I'm playing, now I have a son playing. And every father on this team has a son playing on the lacrosse team. Most fathers on this team, their grandfather played. So it's transcendent with family ties, and it goes back centuries. It starts really with the 3-year-olds and the 4-year-olds, the youngest level being at the peanuts. And they're really a sight to see. You know, you see the kids' joy, the very first time stepping on the floor, the first goal. Actually, I think maybe the youngest kids get the best crowd. They get the grandparents, they get the aunts and uncles watching their nephews and grandkids for the first time.
It's the hope of all these children that one day they'll go on to play for the Onondaga Redhawks senior team. The current Redhawks seniors have won the Can-Am B Championship title for the past 3 years. Last season, the team also won the prestigious President's Cup, an invitational Canadian tournament which dates back to 1964. They're aiming to successfully defend both trophies this year.
It's like the big bear on top of the mountain. You know, everyone's trying to get after him. But I think it's important to stay level-headed. You know, last year's championship was last year's championship with last year's team. We got a couple different guys on this year's team, but still that drive and the hunger has got to remain the same, because 2015 championship is no one's right now. It's still out there for the taking, so it takes just as much hunger and drive as last year to go get it.
Double, double! Use the wall!
Transworld Sport was on hand for a Redhawks midweek game against Pinewood Smoke. Despite their good form going into the encounter, the Redhawks trailed early on. But the home side quickly got it together, and with their superior speed and skill, the Hawks went on to dominate the match. Alfred Jacques watched on as a few of the Redhawks players wielded his sticks, using the strength of the wood to their advantage in the box.
Oh, we play with our heart. There are a lot of communities where there are paid players. You know, you can play for me. I want you to play for me. You know, we'll pay you, $100 a game. Things like that. And that's been going on for quite a while. And Onondaga has never paid players. No matter how good you are, they're not going to pay you here. You play for us, you play for the pride of being Onondaga, red hot, and you give it your heart, everything into it.
In front of their home fans, the Redhawks ran out comfortable victors, winning 22-6. Brett Bucktooth chipped in with 6 goals and 4 assists, and the team are currently top of the table, on course for yet more silverware. We left the Onondaga Nation secure in the knowledge that the sport of lacrosse remains in good health in this part of the world, and it will continue to play a crucial role in the cultural identity of these people.
There's a special place for this game. So it's not a sport with us, it's a tradition. And I would say the lifeblood of the Haudenosaunee.
Subscribe now to our YouTube channel for the very best of Transworld Sports.